Hi everyone, welcome. So we are joined today by Ali. You might remember a few weeks ago, Ali introduced us to the Agent Builder in Pencil. Agent Builder is now live and available, so we thought we'd regroup because I know a lot of people had a lot of questions around what it looks like in practice. So, Ali, I believe you've got an example that you're going to be able to share with us, and then I might ask you some questions along the way. But over to you.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. Definitely, I think what I'll do is I'll be going through a very specific example of how I built one agent, and then what are the best practices for the instructions for agent to work in a good way, and like what are the do's and don'ts. And then I think we'll just definitely discuss along the way how you're working it out. Maybe I can start with sharing my screen. Yeah. So, as we all know, agents are live with the new listing page as well. And when I say new listing page, it's just a better organization of the agents for the better discovery of agents, depending on if you want to kind of see the available agents based on the categories or the use case itself. You can pretty much do it from here. You'll be able to see the most popular agents, newly released ones, agents by pencil itself, and then if there are any partner agents. And the good part is there's a favorites tab. So I have these favorite agents. I'll pretty much be discussing one of my favorite agents
Mhm.
today that I created as an example. And maybe I'll explain now all the bits and pieces of how it looks like to build an agent. This is pre-built one, but I'll explain all the fields, all the details. I think I'll spend a bit more time on the instructions or the best practices for the instruction to make the agent work in a better way.
Mhm.
Um, but cool. As soon as we start building the agents, definitely the first is identity of the agent itself. Do you want to give it a specific name? You can give a very specific name, set a very specific icon and the color so that it just differentiate from your existing agents. And there is a description of, okay, what do you want your agent to do, or what would be the purpose of this agent? This is a free text. Definitely, this is more of a, okay, because this example is about the image retouch agent. So this is a specialized AI editing assistant designed to perform quick and precise image manipulations. For example, if I just want to kind of remove the object, I just want to kind of change the color of one of the item in the image, and I don't want it to do anything else, to not change the background, to not do anything else, just do that retouch. So that's the whole purpose of this specific agent. So description definitely depends upon what do you want to or what are you trying to build itself.
Yeah. And
Then, yeah,
just to
sorry.
cut in, the purpose of the description, am I right in thinking that's more about informing the human users in the workspace of what the agent's for?
That's correct. Like anybody seeing the agent would then understand, okay, this is what this agent is supposed to do. And even when you are searching on the agent listing page, it's going to search that, okay, if I'm trying to kind of look for a retouch or the editing agent, it will just kind of show you this specific agent because it's has a description that explains that, okay, this is what it's supposed to do.
Fantastic.
Cool. Going on to the next part, which is the major part, which is the brain of the agent itself. There are instructions that, okay, what is this agent supposed to do? Or what's a specific use case that this agent is supposed to serve?
Hmm.
So I'll maybe start with, I'll get to this whole long instructions, but I'll start with there is definitely some best practices that I would recommend any or everyone to kind of use when they are trying to build out instructions for their agent. And that is more about specific input and a specific output. And this way, the agent would always be working according to how you want your agent to behave or do a specific task. And there are some specific headlines that I'll discuss. Agent should definitely have a goal that, okay, no matter what I'm as a user asking the agent to do, it already knows, okay, this is my goal. And the goal is, okay, you're just a technical editor, not a creative artist. You have to just do the precise image modifications under the minimum intervention directive. For example, you just change only what is requested. Do not invent, do not think that, okay, this might also look good and in the background kind of scenario. And then there is a very specific return format. That's what I was saying, that it needs to have very specific input, very specific output, so that the agent is very clear on what it needs to do. So it needs to acknowledge and identify, okay, what's the specific change that the user is asking to do? And then what would be the execution itself? Is it performing the color change, or is it a removal? So, and let's say a user is asking to change the color of one product itself. So that is the very specific target zone for this agent to target and do not touch anything else. Then verify that other items or other part of the image, they're pretty much same. They do not deviate from what has been requested. And then warnings and adherence itself, that which is a section which would let your agent know all the guardrails that never do this, never do this.
Yep.
You have to make sure that you are following very strict guardrails, and this is that part of the section or that part of the instructions itself. But it needs to have, definitely the naming here is mine based on how I have built this agent. There's a preservation protocol that before every edit, always identify what needs to be done, what's the target zone, what's the safe zone, and be very explicit and at preserving the other part of the images itself or the image itself. No environmental shift, because I wanted my agent to not change anything else. No layout changes. Keep the background integrity, and always prefer clarity over creativity because I wanted it to be very specific. And once I have already told the agent that, okay, this is your goal, this is the return format, and these are all the guardrails that you have to follow. Now it's always a best practice to give agent some context dump or some few short training examples that, okay, what could be a few example conversation could look like. Example one could be, okay, user asked to change a yellow backpack to navy blue. So the internal thought part is this. And then based on the what user has asked, output should be, okay, I'm changing the backpack to navy blue. I will preserve the existing wooden table texture because this is how our user has asked to not to change anything else. And I gave some other examples, one for color change, one for object removal, one for pretty much the vague request itself. Why? Because this agent is supposed to do very specific tasks. So if user is asking it to make it look cooler, then the agent would pretty much ask the user that, do you want to do this to make it cooler?
Yep.
Or this itself, so that it eventually serves the output that you want. So that is the reason I added like a vague request example as well. And then at the end, I have a section of very specific instructions where I have broken it down into 5. This is just a recommended to have like good set of instructions for AI or the agent itself, where it just needs to analyze, it needs to isolate, make sure there is a safe zone, there is an execution layer, and then verify, and then only come back to the user. Okay, this is your final output image, which you have requested for. So this specific, I would say, structure or the best practices within instructions is going to give you consistent results. Always agent being aware of, okay, I won't have to do this, I do not have to do this, and it doesn't go a little creative, rather follow very specific set of instruction that the user is kind of trying to ask it itself.
Yep. Fantastic.
Cool. Any questions?
Yeah, so I mean, what I think is really clear there is the way that the instructions are so structured. I definitely agree. I find it most helpful to start with what are my inputs and outputs, and then define the journey and the guardrails from there. I'd be interested to know how you draw in the different tools that you're using in your instructions. How explicit are you about use this tool to do this?
Okay, so maybe not for this use case, I haven't done it. Why? Because I'm already controlling the tools here, where I've given it very specific set of tools so that it always only have these options and nothing to kind of. But coming to your point, let's say if I'm creating an agent which has a bigger scope, and let's say I've added 5 different tools, then it's always better to kind of one have it in the instructions or in specific goal itself, that okay, for this specific task you always have to use this tool that I have added, so that agent doesn't really deviate from, let's say for example, I'll give you a different example, not in this case, but maybe I'm trying to create a consumer insight agent, which means an LLM can definitely answer this based on the web search, or I have a very specific tool added for the consumer research, let's say GWI as a tool. So there are 2 different options for the agent. Either just go to web, search about it, come back with the information, or go to that specific consumer insight tool, fetch the insights, and then give it back. So that conflicting case is always better to have explicitly mentioned that, okay, whenever I ask for, let's say, consumer insights, always use the GWI tool. But if I ask about general insights, just feel free to just do a web search and give me the insights on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And in terms of the tools that we can add, what's available?
Yeah, I'll come to that. And a quick one before that, maybe I'll try to quickly cover these 2 sections, and I'll then jump back to tools itself. We have an option of adding categories. Hence, the homepage of the agent or the agent listing page would help you figure out, okay, this is a use case or this is a category where the agent would live in. And then second is about the model selection, on which model. So let's say I'll quickly remove this one. If I click on add the conversation model, I have pretty much different options. If I want my agent to reason, I'll be choosing from the reasoning section. If I want it to deep think, fast responses, and then the multi-model input output. So, and then within each category itself, there is one best available, which is based on the list that we have created from the creator feedback, from the user feedback, and overall industry trends. That, okay, this is the best available model within this. And a quick update would be coming that we'll be showing the name as well soon after, that, okay, you are using the best available, but it would be very much clear for user that, okay, best available, let's say Gemini 3 Pro Assist Instant itself. Now, coming to your actual question on, okay, what are the tools available? And this is also the, I would say, second most important part after the instructions, which is letting your agent know, okay, what are the tools that it needs to have access to in order to kind of fulfill the use case, fulfill the instruction that the user has added for the agents to do. There, if you see, there are 2 different types. One is AI models. And when we say AI models, these are all the AI capabilities that are linked to model itself. So there is text to image, there is image reference for image. Other 2, there would be a lot more coming, like AI fill, AI arrays. And then there are video capabilities or video tools. For example, if I click on any of the tool, I then have an option to choose, okay, do I want to go with the best available, or I want to have very specific model selected for this agent itself. This is how the user would go ahead, add the tool. And if you just see, there are some general category of tools, which is like, okay, I want my agent to do a web search, if I want my agent to visit a URL, or if I want my agent to always give me a word count for the blogs or the copy that the agent is writing. This is a new recent addition that we did as a general tool. And then a very specific part comes in for the third party integrations, where let's say as a customer you have your own set of SaaS tooling within your workflows, and you want to somehow let's say create an agent, and maybe once the output is there you want to put it in through Google Docs, one example. So you can pretty much then select the provider, choose the action that you want this agent to do. So for example, if I want to create a document, I would pretty much just select create a document and I'll add it as a tool.
Yep.
I'll remove it for now, but these connections require or these third party integrations also require connection. For example, if I want to add to my Excel itself, and I add the tool which is not connected on the workspace level, so I cannot pretty much chat with the agent unless I connect with the tool itself, in order for me to then, or for agent to use this tool to kind of process what the user has asked in the instructions itself.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And if someone needs an additional tool that isn't there already, can we provide?
We have a request a tool button here as well. It would take you to a form. You can fill in the request, and we're already in the process of building a process around how would we integrate custom integrations based on customers' need, on the use case that they have. And I think we are already kind of moving ahead with a lot of other custom integration that would be in flight soon. But yeah, this is how anybody can request a tool or reach out to the CSM team, or if they're already a customer, or the accounts team, and then eventually we'll get the request and we'll get or prioritize the custom integration on the third party level itself for agents.
Fantastic. Right, we are almost at time. We have 3 minutes left. It would be great to see this agent in action.
Yeah. So now I'll just do like, definitely I can publish the agent and I can use it. Maybe I'll eventually go to the agent. I could do it in the preview chat, but I'll do it for on the actual chat itself. Let's take a quick example where I'll give this agent maybe this model image.
Yep.
And I'll ask it to, can you change the color of top from red to blue?
Mm-hmm.
And I can just send in the request. Agent would process the request and then give me the output.
Yeah. And I think the simplicity of that prompt really shows the benefit of the detailed instructions as well. It's just giving us this repeatable way of carrying out requests in a much simpler way than if you had to re-prompt fully every time you wanted to do this.
Yeah, I think that's where the very specific instructions with all the guardrails comes in, where it's going to be helpful once you have built the agent, validated it out, tested and verified. Then it won't be going here and there. It's just about, okay, users coming in, talking to the agent, getting their work done, and then kind of reiterating. And that's what make this agent builder special, to kind of serve those specialized use cases in a way that it's very deterministic, and you can just make it as deterministic as you want. You can pretty much ask the agent to, like, okay, somebody, if as soon as user sends you something, always confirm X, Y, Z, and agent would just kind of then pretty much already ask the user, okay, is it this, is it that, is it going to work in this way? And then once user confirm, only then it can kind of start the process, or to process the request itself. So, but this is how the whole idea of agent builder to build the specialized custom agents is all about.
Yeah. So we've just got really
And now if we just kind of see, it has kept, maybe I can open it in full view. It has kept every other detail like the shoe, the bag, every other background detail as is, and it just changed the top from red to blue because it's supposed to do as per the instructions that I've created for this agent with all the guardrails in place.
Fantastic. Right, we are at time. Thank you so much, Ali. That was really, really helpful. I think gives a really good insight into how Agent Builder works, the best ways that we can prompt for it. Everyone watching, thank you for joining us. We will be providing a lot more content about Agent Builder over the next weeks and months. Please do check out the pencil community at community.trypencil.com for lots more hints and tips, and please do share your successes with Agent Builder there as well. Right, thank you once again, Ali, and thank you
Thank
everyone for
you.
joining.
Thanks everyone.